The Crown theory of this case is that David Campbell shot Brian Lowe dead. And what can you tell us about just the spread of the shot here?
The muzzle of the gun was pointed directly at Mr. Lowe.
Why on earth would somebody want to kill Brian?
Jurors heard that the two men had been employed on a shooting estate near Aberfeldy.
Brian Lowe had been a groundsman. The accused was a gamekeeper.
David held Brian responsible for him losing his job.
He turned to me and he said about Brian, "I hate him."
The challenging feature is the case wasn't treated as a crime for several days.
I suspected that the deceased had suffered a medical episode.
Shotgun pellets literally fell out of the body bag.
It was obvious that the police had been under a lot of pressure at the start.
Big questions for the police here. Missing gunshot wounds.
Forensic opportunities were lost. So our case really hinges on the movements of a cyclist.
There is no forensic link between anything of Mr. Lowe's and Mr. Campbell. In that first statement, the words you used at that point, Brian was in the living room watching TV. Brian was absolutely fine when I spoke to him.
How could I get it so wrong?
And there are viable alternatives which point to a reasonable doubt.
I just want justice for Brian and justice for the family.
A difficulty in this case is no one saw it and no one heard it, and that it appears to the Crown that this accused has done as much as he can to try and ensure that there's no evidence against him. The Crown theory is that he took steps before and after to cover up the crime. The public interest in a murders trial is the paramount consideration. Obviously, you think about the next of kin, you think about the deceased, and you want to do your best for them.
I didn't want Brian's life to be determined by the tragic event. Brian was, obviously much, much more than that. He meant so much to us that we decided, to look out all the family photographs. My elder brother, John, and myself, we thought we'd be the only two, but my mother particularly wanted to have a girl. But Brian came along. My mother got over the disappointment of him not being a girl, and he was a little bit spoiled. He had this cheeky little grin, and he was just loved by everybody. I went from treating him as my sort of pesky little brother to actually enjoying his company. I remember when my father died of a stroke, as he was dying, I promised him I would look after Mum and Brian. Obviously, I didn't do a very good job of that. For the previous 4 or 5 years at least, David Campbell's name was never mentioned. Yes, there had been bad feeling, and I knew quite a bit about some of the things that happened from the birds of prey poisoning, but it never entered my mind that he would harbour a grudge for all that time.
I am going to call the officer who arrested and conducted the police interview of David Campbell. I will play that police interview because it's important that the jury hear the accused's version of events.
I think in general you're nervous going to court. We shouldn't be, because we are well prepared and we've worked on it for 2 years. We'll have studied all our statements and we know what we're going to say and what we need to say, but sometimes I suppose there is a bit of fear that you say something that might affect the trial in some way.
It will be useful for the jury to see how David Campbell responded to being arrested for murder. Not only what he says, but how he says it. Advocate Deputy. My lord, the next Crown witness is Detective Constable David Budd.
Thank you.
Okay, Detective Constable, thank you.
you were part of a murder inquiry into the death of a man called Brian Lowe, is that correct?
That's correct.
We know that a statement was taken from a David Campbell. Do you see David Campbell in court today?
Yes, I do.
Can you point to him if you see him?
There.
So he's spoken to as a witness initially?
Yes.
But by the 24th of May 2024, he was no longer a witness. You would arrest him and treat him as a suspect, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you attend his home address?
Yes, I did.
On 24th May 2024?
Yes.
Right, morning everyone. Can everyone through the back hear me? Okay. Yeah. Today is in response to Operation New Lane, which is the Police Scotland response into the murder of Brian Lowe. Today is the enforcement stage and it will ultimately involve in the arrest of the suspect, David Campbell, and the subsequent search of his home address. There's a number of other addresses that are linked to him in Aberfeldy, which somebody will be involved in the search of.
I would say we've got at least 50 officers up here today in various roles, so a massive operation for us today. Here we go.
Somebody there.
You're under arrest for the murder of Brian. You're not obliged to say anything, but anything you do say will be noted and used as evidence. Do you understand that?
No.
Do you want to make any reply?
None at all.
Okay.
Right, we'll need to get you up off the toilet and get you some clothes on. Don't make this difficult, David.
Just take them off. Any funny business and they'll go back on.
Oh, shut up.
No.
No any funny business.
When you first arrest him, did he say anything in reply to his arrest?
No, not at the house.
When he was conveyed to Dundee Police Office, did he say anything?
Do you want me to contact a lawyer and inform them that you're being held by the police at this police station to be questioned in connection with an offence?
No.
Was he then interviewed?
Yes.
Am I right in thinking that for large parts of this interview, Mr. Campbell chose to remain silent?
Yes, he did.
As he is entitled to do?
Absolutely.
But not for all of the interview?
No. Right, David, I'm going to ask you questions about the murder of James Brian Lowe. You're not obliged to answer, but if you do, your answers may be noted and may be used in evidence. Do you understand that?
How do you know he was murdered? You don't have any evidence.
Okay, that's not what we're discussing.
I know that.
It may be used in evidence, so if this should end up in a court, that's what that means.
It could have been an accidental kill.
And you're trying to tell us something here?
I'm telling you, people get accidentally shot every year.
Is this whole thing been an accident?
I don't know.
Well, did you mean to shoot him or did you not?
Cheeky bastard.
You perked up a wee bit. How come you've perked up?
I like the company of attractive ladies.
You like the company of attractive ladies? Are you referring to Claudia?
That's something they'll refer to you, so.
You think that's acceptable?
That's the lady, she'll tell me.
She'll be crawling on her skin. This is a very important question. Is there any reason for police to have forensic evidence linking you to the murder of Brian Lowe?
100% no.
Why didn't you try and get him help?
I wasn't up there, you know where I was.
I don't know where you are.
Well, you need to speak to your mates.
Listen, I'm not trying to trick you here.
Fuck off.
You're telling me fuck off now?
Yeah.
I can't tell you anything in this that's not true. What I can do is can confirm that at 10:009 your CCTV was shut down on Friday the 16th of February. Why did you shut your CCTV system down?
Pete said you would wipe that.
Are you accusing the police of wiping your CCTV?
Well, it showed I was at the house the whole day. Oh, didn't give me that face, son.
Come on now.
As far as I'm aware, your organisation is the most crooked and the most utterly corrupt organisation that we have in this country. At least the fucking gangsters of this world are up front and say, that's what we are.
The Crown theory is that he took steps to ensure that evidence would not be found by the police switching off CCTV cameras. He said that the police had done that, and they had done that deliberately.
He just said in his own defence he was in his house. And I thought, well, is he to prove he was in his house? But then I'm told, no, you have to prove that he wasn't. That worried me. You couldn't really not look at him because he's right in front of you. And when he was getting taken down at the brakes, he would wave to his granddaughter, whoever was there. And I was quite upset, thinking Brian's family were there as well, and it did impact on them.
David Campbell seemed confident and blasé. I didn't think he acted particularly like a guilty person. You know, there was the CCTV.
1612. Who is that? That's not you.
But it was never 100% conclusive. You didn't see his face.
What were you carrying?
You said you couldn't carry a gun on that.
That bag is big enough to fit a shotgun in.
It's you, Davy. I've studied that CCTV for weeks and picked out at multiple points the details on the bike. The mudguard, the parcel shelf, the water bottle.
I think you're desperate.
So who is that then?
Go on, answer.
We're asking him here. And he's not telling us. He knows though, because I could see it in his eyes.
He is talking shit.
He's so arrogant. Some of his answers and the flippant way he was speaking to the police. I thought, hell mend you, Dave.
I suspect that, on the view of most people, David Campbell's approach to the police interview was an extraordinary one.
Mr. Lennon.
Thank you, Lord. But most of us fail to do ourselves justice when we're in a state of high emotion. Is it fair for me to say that we see you lose your professional cool at times in this interview?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you think you would have conducted the interview in that manner had a solicitor been present?
Yes.
You think that might have cooled things off at all?
No.
This was by no means your first murder inquiry, is that right?
That's correct.
And you would know that the earliest stages of an inquiry often prove to be very important.
Yes, they are.
Both in terms of old-fashioned policing and identifying eyewitnesses and things like that.
Yes.
But also in more up-to-date policing to do with forensic science.
Yes.
And so the initial medical death decision was certainly a regrettable one from the police perspective.
Yes.
There's a point in the interview. You asked, would there be any explanation for any forensic findings that link you, the suspect, to the victim in the case? Do you remember asking that?
Yes, I do.
And you would have in mind things like DNA and fingerprints. And David Campbell says 100% not.
Yes.
And you would know from your central role in the inquiry that at least turns out to be accurate.
Yes, it does.
As a prosecutor, you're trying to build the case. On the defence side, you're just trying to undermine it. That's their job, to try and knock it down and try and create as much doubt as they can.
Were you aware that at a later stage, a possible footprint was identified on the trouser leg of the deceased?
Yes.
Am I right in saying that no footwear which was seized in this case was able to be matched to that footprint?
As far as I'm aware, that's correct.
This recovered footprint from Brian Lowe's trousers, however it got there, didn't match anything to do with David Campbell. It points towards someone other than him.
That was a problem. Our experts couldn't say for certain that it was a footprint, but it might have been. And that is the type of issue that could raise a reasonable doubt in the mind of the jury.
The footprint on the trouser, that was difficult to hear.
I thought it might have been the paramedic, in actual fact.
But I think that, it didn't match his footwear and obviously it didn't match David Campbell's, but then we know that he had that period of time to get rid of things. Was that footprint David Campbell's? Just checking that he was dead. You try to prepare yourself for something like that, but really until you're there in that moment, you don't really understand how distressing it actually is. 2 years down the line, when most people, when they've lost somebody, they're maybe putting their lives back together again. But when it's a murder, you're reliving it all again in a court setting and you're hearing more facts, more distressing information. You are thrown into this world so far from normal life.
I'm going to ask you some questions about a search of David Campbell's home address in Aberfeldy. Were you part of that search?
I was.
So, plan of action. We're just going to mask and double glove. Unless we find anything, then we'll decide on a forensic strategy for recovery at that point in time. But once we've recovered the obvious items, they're going to send in the gun dog.
Although the shotgun used to commit this murder was never recovered, we say that David Campbell had the means.
You have before you a document that the police put together to record what's found and where it's found. Page 9. We should be able to look at an image of this, I think. What do we see here?
That was a box located in the garage.
And inside that box, can we see numerous shotgun cartridges?
There were, yes.
And 535?
Unspent shotgun cartridges.
In the accused garage when they were seized by police?
Yes.
Yeah, that's obviously the bike that we're looking for.
In terms of the bike, did you conduct a reconstruction of a journey taken by a cyclist in this case?
Yes.
Did you get a bike identical to the bike seized from David Campbell's home address?
Yes, that's correct.
Plans for this morning, Greg is going to cycle the route we believe that would have been taken by David Campbell on the way up to Leafy Lane, the site where Brian Lowe's body was found. Greg will have cameras on him and that'll capture the terrain. This is the purpose of today. We could show it can be done.
So this is you?
That is correct.
Where was your starting point?
It was to the rear of the home address of Mr. Campbell.
And you're riding into Aberfeldy?
Yes.
And you're now going to take the bike towards Leafy Lane?
That's correct, yes.
It was very helpful to allow the jury to see the route that we say the accused took, but it also demonstrated that the bike ride could have been made in enough time to carry out the murder.
And did the bike cope okay with this terrain?
Yes, I've found it quite straightforward, to be honest with you.
Okay. There was some evidence that the accused had difficulty in his movements, and it may be the defence suggests to the jury that he was not physically capable of having carried out this murder. I will need evidence to show that David Campbell was physically fit enough.
I want to ask you some questions briefly about February of 2024. At that time, did you know a man called David Campbell?
I certainly did.
Did you see that man in court today?
I do.
Did you know each other through the bowling club?
Yes.
And on 16th February 2024, you went down with him to the Grantley Bowling Club in relation to repairs to a bridge?
Yes.
Had you carried out some repairs previously to the bridge or clear it away?
Yes, we cleared it away together, actually, some time before.
What did that involve doing?
Taking it apart, transporting it to the dump.
Just the two of you did that?
Yes.
We've heard something about David Campbell having difficulty with his knee.
Yes.
But that didn't prevent him from carrying out this work?
No, but, I mean, David could certainly move. He was just in pain, clearly in pain.
Okay. He managed to carry out half a day's work with you dismantling this bridge and putting it in the dump.
Yeah.
Thank you.
These are pictures from the bowling club, and it's just possible that David might have been there. Ah, there he is. There's the man himself. Above all, David Campbell to me is a bowler, because that's how I met him. We found him a very friendly and helpful person. We were beginners, and he was always willing to advise and give help. And I never saw anything that would make me think he could go out and deliberately shoot anybody, never mind Brian. That's not the man I knew.
Mr. Spicer, how long have you known David Campbell?
Since 2016, I think.
Did you hold a positive view of him?
I did, yeah, very much so.
How would you describe his character?
Very straight, shall we say. He didn't like people who didn't play by the rules, as it were.
Was there a warmth in his character?
Well, I found him that way, yes. I thought he was a very kind person, actually, that he was generous.
And you spent time in his company on the morning of the 16th of February of 2024?
Yes. Yeah.
And anything unusual in his manner?
No, absolutely not.
Just his usual self?
Just his usual self.
Mr. Spicer, thank you very much.
Have you, Deputy? My Lord, next Crown witness is number 28 in your Lordship's list. Thank you.
The day after the shooting, David Campbell took his wife's bike to a bike shop. The Crown theory is that this was an attempt to cover up what he had done the night before.
I want to ask you some questions about Saturday, 17th February 2024.
Okay.
Did you have a customer in that day about bike tyres?
Yes.
Did this man tell you where he'd come from?
Aberfeldy.
And what did he ask you about?
Asked if we could change tyres. I said yes. He then brought the bike in.
Did he explain why he wanted new tyres?
Yes. He said it was his wife's bike and she was going out with her friends the following weekend for the forest. Wanted it done within a week.
Okay. Did you have a look at the tyres that were already on the bike?
Yes.
And did you notice anything about them?
They weren't worn, and in my opinion, they were suitable for forest trails.
Were they damaged at all?
No.
And did you say to him that you thought, in fact, they would do for what his wife needed them for?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
The Crown case is that he changed the tyres on the bike in order to hide any connection between that bike and the locust, because the bike had been there. It's a muddy path, a good chance that that bike could have left tracks which could have been matched to those tyres.
Could you have in front of you, please, Crown Production number 9? Am I right in saying what you've got in front of you is the repair and service docket that was made out for this bike?
It is, yes.
Now, what I'm interested in is this. The person that came in gave the name David Campbell, and we can see that there on the top line.
Yes.
David Campbell gave his true name, his true address. There wasn't anything there which suggested that this was a forensically savvy man, literally covering his tracks. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I knew that they had a number of points of circumstantial evidence, but they had nothing direct. Nobody saw anybody do it. Was that person on the bike David Campbell?
In this case, we don't have typical forensic links between the accused and the murder scene. But what we do have is a more unusual type of forensic evidence.
My Lord, there is a joint minute of agreement, and my learned junior will read it out.
Yes, whenever you're ready, Mr. Ennis.
A joint minute of agreement is a document which sets out uncontroversial evidence. It's been proved and the jury must accept it as proved.
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, the following facts have been agreed and are conclusively proved. Crown Productions numbers 68 and 105 are a soil analysis report by Crown witness Professor Lorna Dawson.
As part of the forensic strategy, we had the assistance of Professor Lorna Dawson, who takes soil samples from key areas at the locus, and if we recover soil on footwear, clothing, bikes, we can examine it to see if it's the same kind of soil.
Some of the traces of soil and vegetation recovered from the e-bike strongly support the proposition that the e-bike or its rider had come into contact with Leafy Lane.
Professor Dawson was able to provide a compelling report showing that the bike had been at Leafy Lane.
None of the samples recovered from the tyres of the e-bike, which were changed following the death of James Brian Lowe, are consistent with the tyres having come into contact with Leafy Lane.
So, not the tyres, but there was soil in particular on the pedals.
Professor Dawson prepared her report on the basis of witness statements from the accused and Crown witness Elizabeth Campbell.
Both he, David Campbell, and his wife Elizabeth Campbell had stated to police that they hadn't been in the area of Leafy Lane.
So it is relatively unusual to call the spouse of an accused as a Crown witness in a murder trial. It's not something that I've done before. The potential difficulties are the obvious ones. A spouse may feel a sense of loyalty, even in a murder trial. In short, they're not an impartial witness.
Have you, Deputy?
My Lord, next Crown witness is Elizabeth Campbell.
I do not anticipate that Elizabeth Campbell will want to help the Crown. I get a distinct impression that she will want to help her husband.
Have you, Deputy?
My Lord. Good afternoon. Can I have your full name, please?
Elizabeth Campbell, that I prefer to be called Beatty.
All right, I'll call you Mrs. Campbell. You married?
Yes.
Who are you married to?
David Campbell.
Is that the person you blew a kiss to when you walked into court?
Yes.
I want to ask you some questions about the death of Brian Lowe. Did you know Brian Lowe?
Yes.
How did you know him?
We worked on the same estate.
When you worked on the estate with Brian Lowe, how did you get along with him?
I didn't get along with him, but I didn't not get along with him. I had very little to do with him.
And how did David get along with Brian?
I think much the same.
Any issues between David and Brian that you're aware of?
No.
Any grievances?
No.
You ever said anything different to the police?
I don't think so, no.
My Lord, I'm going to put the statement of the witness to them. Now, look at page 3 of 6, please. Does it say, there was 1 or 2 grievances between Brian and Dave? Does it say that?
Just.
Did you say that to the police?
I must have done, yes.
And is that the truth?
If it says here, then that's what I said. I didn't know what they were about.
I'm not asking you that.
But I'm telling you,
If you let me finish the
don't
question,
remember.
please, Mrs. Campbell. I'm asking you, as you stand here on oath, if you remember that there were grievances.
And I'm telling you, sir, under oath, I don't remember.
Can you explain why you said that in your statement then?
No, I can't explain it.
At the time that Brian Lowe was shot dead by someone, do you know where he lived?
Petillie.
Petillie. Had you ever been to the Petillie area?
Yes, after I got my bike.
Is this your electric bike?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to look at a map just to orientate you, Mrs. Campbell. You see the blue square marked C?
Yes.
That's your home address. If the cursor can just be moved along, and if we follow it along, heard of a name of a track up here?
I mean, I was just up there cycling.
Look where the cursor is now. You have cycled on your electric bike on that section there.
Yes.
These bike trips that you say you took, do you think you told the police about these?
I don't know if they even asked me.
Okay, I'm going to read this to you. I was aware that Brian lived up at Petillie. I used to run up there. That was 20-odd years ago. I haven't a clue if Dave knew where he lived. It's not an area that me and Dave frequent. Why did you say that?
Because it's true.
But it's an area that you'd been to on your bike. Why didn't you tell the police about that?
He never asked me.
It was apparent to me very quickly that I would have to treat her as a hostile witness. My view is that what Elizabeth Campbell was doing was trying to provide an explanation as to why that soil had been found on that bike. And it demonstrated, in my view, someone who was not being straightforward with the jury.
You know that there's an issue with that bike and that area, don't you?
Yes.
You know that soil sample analysis has been carried out that connects your bike to that very area, don't you?
No, I didn't know that.
Quite sure about that?
I'm on oath here. I'd already told you I was up there on my bike.
Yes, well that would offer an explanation, wouldn't it? As to why soil was found on that bike.
Why would I lie?
Well, you might lie to protect your husband.
I took an oath. I believe in God, and I am telling you the truth.
I have been asked again about the bike and if it has been used this year. As far as I know, it hasn't. I definitely haven't used it, and I don't think Dave has. Did you say that to the police?
I must have done, but I certainly don't remember. And I certainly do remember having been out on the bike.
Because I think you told us just a moment ago that the police didn't ask you about the bike.
I'm sorry, obviously they did.
Just try and be careful with your answers, please,
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell. This might be important for everyone concerned. Do you understand?
Sorry, I'm just very nervous.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's have a look at some images, please. Who's that?
My husband.
To the right of him, we see a bike. Whose bike is that?
My bike.
How can you tell?
Because it's got the basket.
What about the tyres?
Well, they've still got a white rim on them.
Have a look, please, at Crown Production 90. Do you think that bike looks similar to your bike?
A motorbike looks similar to my bike.
Tell me about the tyres on this bike of yours. Were they ever changed?
Yes. And I didn't know my husband had done it. But I had said to him one day that I found it very difficult because my tyres were slim tyres.
Nothing further, my lord, thank you.
Mr. Lennon.
Thank you, Lord. Mrs. Campbell, would I be right in thinking that this is not a pleasant experience for you today?
Yes.
Would I be right in thinking that the last 2 years, give or take, have been unpleasant years?
Yes.
Tumultuous years?
Yes.
I'm going to reach back in time. Do you remember any interaction between your husband and Brian Lowe at the point of leaving the estate?
Brian came and said bye, and he shook Dave's hand and wished him all the best.
Crown Production 90. Does David Campbell have a jacket like that?
No. He doesn't own a jacket with a hood.
Why not?
Because he never wears a hat or a hood.
What happens in the rain?
He gets wet. He wears a scarf round his neck if he's out shooting and never wears a hat.
Mrs. Campbell, thank you very much.
Have you, Deputy?
Briefly, my lord. Did I understand you to say that your husband never wore a hood or a hat, and if it rained, he got wet?
Yes.
Clip 84, please. What's your husband got on
He's got a woolly hat on.
Yes, he does.
That's very, very unusual.
Very unusual. You said it never happened. Why did you tell Mr. Lenihan he never wore a hood or a hat?
Because I forgot about that one.
It was ridiculous, really, because she had to go on the stand against her husband, which must have been hard for her. But everybody there said the same thing, that that wasn't true what Betty was saying, just to try and save Dave. I think she actually did him more harm than good in the end.
Obviously, the charge which I intend to take to the jury is the charge of murder, but there were also a number of what we would call evidential charges, breaches of the peace involving threats of violence.
During the time that you lived on the Edredite estate, your husband was the groundsman?
Yeah.
Was there any incident with David Campbell that caused you any concern?
Yes.
What happened?
He was shouting in my face, telling me that my husband was useless, he couldn't do anything, and I could feel his spit on my face, and he was going to kill my husband.
Whether he used the words of, I'll shoot him or I'll kill him.
It was either kill or shoot.
But your life experience would have taught you that. You might say to someone, I'll shoot the boots off you. You don't literally mean that. Is that fair?
Fair.
Do you remember exactly what he said?
I don't recall if it was shoot or kill you, but it was definitely a threat.
He would shoot you?
Yeah.
After the heat had gone out of the discussion, you came to realise that this was nothing, just hot words from him.
I mean, he didn't follow up, obviously.
Plainly, he didn't kill you. That's your point. We understand that. The Crown lead those charges to show that David Campbell is threatening. But ironically, those charges support the conclusion that even if he had ill will towards somebody at some point, he doesn't do anything about it.
Were you aware that during his duties, David Campbell would use a shotgun?
Yes.
And was he a good shot?
Yes, very.
Very good shot. How would he carry the gun?
Mostly on his shoulder in a bag.
Did matters come to a head?
He just said to me, I'll fucking shoot you one of these days.
You in that moment knew that these aren't serious words from him. This is just the sort of thing that's sometimes said in the heat of the moment.
Well, yes, but he was always threatening somebody, yeah.
Character after character after character, where in the moment there was apparently real high feeling between them. Nothing ever happened.
Did you previously work on the Edradina estate near Aberfeldy?
I did.
Were you aware that prior to your arrival there had been a head gamekeeper called David Campbell?
Yes.
Did Brian Lowe ever mention this David Campbell to you?
He did happen to mention that David had threatened him.
Did he tell you what that threat was?
He basically said he would kill him.
This is Brian Lowe telling you that David Campbell had threatened to kill him?
Yes.
It was quite striking that if this was a vendetta against Brian Lowe from David Campbell, that doesn't seem to follow from other instances where David Campbell, it is said, fell out with people. Nothing ever happened.
Clearly, there was friction between them, whether it was to do with some jealousy. But in general, it gave an idea of what type of man David Campbell was.
Have you a deputy?
Lord, with that, I close the Crown case.
Thank you, Deputy. Members of the jury, what I'm going to do is to adjourn now until tomorrow morning.
This is an anxious case because it's such an unusual type of murder. People don't get shot dead in Aberfeldy. You never think that the case is as strong as you would like it to be, and you always worry that a jury will see doubt where there isn't really any reasonable doubt. But I think we've done all that we can.
I was really appreciative of the amount of local people that went up. And I know there was some to go to court, but they've gone up and what they've said has really helped me. I've thanked every one of them. I actually want to hear Dave's evidence the most, because I almost want them to make him say that he did it. Brian's gone. It won't make it better, but I want to get justice.
There's never an absolute requirement for an accused person to give evidence on their own behalf. And the reason for that is that they never have anything to prove. It's for the Crown to do the proving. But there are certainly cases in which I think a jury might be expecting you to say something.
Mr. Lennon.
Lord, this is a case in which I will lead the defence evidence, and I call the accused to give evidence on his own behalf.
Thank you, Mr. Lennon. Mr. Campbell, would you come forward and go into the witness box, please?
Whilst it is straightforward to say that's not me on the bicycle, and that I didn't shoot him, we will lead evidence to say where he was, and that's the special defensive alibi.
Mr. Lennon.
Thank you, Lord. I'm interested in your relationship with Brian Lowe. You will have heard there's a deal of evidence to suggest that, at the least, you did not get on with Mr. Lowe.
No, we didn't speak to each other.
So you didn't speak to him. Did you have arguments with him?
We just didn't get on. He didn't like me, I didn't like him.
16th of February, we see tape go on to the doorbell at 7:36 in the morning. What's happening there?
As far as I was aware, somebody stole the front door camera, and I phoned my wife to tell her that I've taped up the back door camera, so there's only one camera working, and you'll be able to see who has it and where it is.
Later in the afternoon of the 16th of February, we know that there is a telephone call made by you to your local council.
Yes. We've got a double garage. I had to get permission from the council to change from a double door to one singular roller door.
I'm going to ask you to look at a piece of footage. This is your Ring doorbell footage, and that is the 16th of February, 7:30 at night.
You'll notice that's me coming out the house, not in the house.
And if that is the next available piece of footage after the phone call to the council. What happens between the phone call to the council and that footage there?
I was sitting watching telly. That was my day. I spent most of my life in the house, so I couldn't walk anywhere unless I drove somewhere. I just stayed in the house.
There is evidence from a police specialist that your CCTV system was turned off in about the middle of the morning on the 16th of February. Who did that?
It had to be me. I didn't think it because I don't know how to work it. I can barely switch on and off a mobile phone, never mind the camera system, but it had to have been me.
Because you later suggested to the police, and I'll come to this, that that was their doing.
Yes.
Do you think that was wrong?
Yes, I think so.
24th of May 2024 is the day upon which you were arrested in your house.
Yes.
In which room in the house were you when you were detained?
The toilet.
As we come on to your police interview, did the events of that morning have anything to do with your mood at the interview?
Yeah, of course.
Do you accept you were rude to the police in the interview?
Yeah. Said a lot of things I should never have said.
And do you remember being told by the police that you have the right to have access to a solicitor?
That's right.
You didn't ask for a solicitor?
No.
Why not?
I didn't need one.
Did you have anything to do with the death of Brian Lowe?
I most certainly did not.
All right, sir, stay where you are.
I beg your deputy.
I have no idea whether or not an accused person will choose to give evidence, so it's very difficult to script cross-examination. You might have a plan, but that might go out the window.
Mr. Campbell, you had some kind of confrontation with Leona Forrest. She said that you were so close to her when you threatened to shoot or kill her husband that she could feel your spit on her face.
Absolutely not true.
Okay. Richard Wright, did you threaten to shoot him?
No, I did not.
So that's a lie?
Yes.
Did you ever threaten to kill Brian Lowe?
No.
That's not true?
Absolutely not.
There's little point in repeatedly simply putting the allegation to an accused person in the hope that they're going to admit it. That's not going to happen. I wanted to ask him about the bike, and I wanted to ask him about the picture of him because I knew that would be a difficulty for him.
Who's that?
That's me.
So you do seem to wear a hat sometimes, is that correct?
It's not what I would call a hat.
What would you call it?
It's just a woolly top.
A woolly top?
Yeah.
A woolly top for your head?
Yeah.
A hat?
No, it's not a hat.
To your right, we can see a bicycle.
Yes, uh-huh.
Whose bicycle is that?
Betty's.
Clip 37. This is a hooded cyclist. That's quite close to your home address, isn't it?
300 or 500 yards, maybe.
You don't own a jacket like that, do you?
I certainly don't.
And of course...
I would never wear one like that.
No, because it's got a hood.
That's right.
And you don't wear hoods.
Nope.
And you don't wear hats.
I wore a beanie, and it's not a hat.
That's you on that bike, isn't it, Mr. Campbell?
It most certainly is not.
You understand the significance of this, don't you?
Of what?
Whether or not the bike was up there.
My wife said it was. If she said it was, it was.
You knew this soil sample analysis was a problem for you, didn't you?
Not at all.
You knew that that connected that bike to that locus, and that's a problem for you, isn't it?
It's not a problem for me.
That's why your wife gave us this very vague accounts.
It wasn't
different
vague.
Journeys.
It wasn't vague.
And you changed the tyres for the same reason, because you were up there that day on that bike.
No.
You were
Please
up there.
Stop calling me a liar.
You were up there on the 16th.
I certainly was not.
February 2024, and you shot Brian Lowe dead out of sheer malice. That's the truth, isn't it?
Malice for what? Brian and I never even fell out. We just didn't speak to each other.
I knew he would never ever admit it, and he never ever will. He'll go to his grave denying that he did it.
If an accused person gives evidence, then the jury get to see and hear him for themselves. Now, of course, an accused can be very compelling. The jury may be persuaded by them, but quite often they're not.
Today here at the High Court in Glasgow, David Campbell took to the stand. He recalled the moment that he was arrested naked on the toilet.
He was asked about his movements around the time when it's suspected Brian Lowe was killed.
He covered the doorbell with duct tape,
made a phone call to the council and spent the rest of the afternoon watching TV.
In this case, I thought it would be important that the CCTV confusion is answered. Tell us your full name, please.
Sarah Jane Aitchison.
And am I right in saying that that is your dad who sits in the dock?
Yes.
Now, the principal thing I'm interested in relates to a doorbell camera. I'm going to show you a piece of footage, please.
Well, I don't see anything to charge it with.
What was your dad speaking to you about at this point in the morning of the 16th of February that we can see here?
He was convinced there was a camera being stolen.
What camera did you understand he thought had been stolen?
The camera from the front door.
Was there ever more than one camera?
No.
Twice that day, your dad puts tape over that camera so that the camera cannot see anything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about that?
He had thought that if you put tape over the lens of one camera, the one that he thought had been stolen, Mum would be able to see that and be able to see who'd stolen it.
All right, Mrs. Aitchison, stay where you are, please. I think there might be more questions for you.
The whole chapter about the doorbell camera being taped up was quite difficult to understand. A common sense explanation of why he did that was that he wanted to hide his movements. As to his explanation, I struggled to follow it.
This explanation by your father that he thought putting tape over one doorbell camera would help find another. You okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Did you explain that there wasn't another camera?
Yes.
And what did he say to that?
He was like, no, there is. So in his head, I suppose it made sense.
Thank you.
Mr. Lennon.
With that, I close the case for the defence, my lord.
Thank you, Mr. Lennon.
David Campbell denies all charges against him. All evidence has now been heard in the case, and the prosecution and defence will sum up tomorrow.
This is a very difficult case for the jury to get a clear picture of what happened. My job in my speech is to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
What a defence lawyer is doing is making sure that a jury don't rush to judgment and think about things in terms of proof beyond reasonable doubt.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This was a brazen, brutal, and planned execution. The only person with the means, motive, and opportunity to carry out this murder was the accused, David Campbell.
Maybe we could all become so heated in a moment of fierce conflict that we could do something terrible. But what is there in the evidence to make you think that David Campbell was nursing a wrath that was so acrid that it carried on for 7 years or more, at a level which would eventually drive him to murder Brian Lowe?
The Crown case is predicated on the fact that Brian Lowe's mobile phone stopped recording movement at 16:52 on 16 February 2024.
But that wasn't the original theory. Pam Curran remained steadfast in her honest memory of events.
Pam got it wrong initially through shock and grief. It's entirely understandable.
And you have an experienced pathologist setting out a time limit which cannot positively fit the Crown theory. How can that be proof beyond reasonable doubt?
He blinded the CCTV system and he blinded the doorbell camera to hide his movements.
How many easy ways would there have been for a guilty mind to neutralise that camera? But film yourself sticking tape on it. Why would you?
That's Elizabeth Campbell's bike. You've seen this bike lots of times during the course of this trial. The evidence tells you who was riding the bike with a gun on his back. It's the accused on that bike.
What do I say about the initial police mistakes? The scene was plainly compromised. There is no forensic link between anything of Mr. Lowe's and Mr. Campbell.
The soil sample analysis connects Elizabeth Campbell's bike to the place where Brian Lowe was found dead. He covered his tracks, but not carefully enough. And in my submission to you, the only true verdict on the evidence in this case is guilty of murder.
Look to see if there is even a reasonable possibility that this wasn't David Campbell clambering onto a bicycle, shooting this somehow still bitter enemy from so far away with what is usually a short-range weapon. Even if you only think I might be right about it, don't convict him. You would not be serving justice if you did. Thank you very much.
Members of the jury, you've now heard all of the evidence that you're going to hear in the case. There are two verdicts you can return: guilty or not guilty. You must not make your decision on the basis of speculation or guesswork or sympathy. You must take such time as you require to consider your verdict. The ball is entirely in your court. Will you please now retire and consider your verdict?
I want to believe it was going to be fine, but I did waver after his closing speech. I thought, God, he's got more than I actually was remembering. I think the fact it goes second, you remember it more. So, yeah, just have to stay positive.
When he said, if you've got any shadow of doubt, you've got to say not guilty. And that, for me, I was like, oh, my goodness, we're never going to get a conviction.
The jury had a lot to think about. And you might be tempted to think that the longer they are out, the more room there is for doubt.
I don't know how you score these things, but I think it's 50-50.
The longest 3 days of my life. And you try to be normal. You're trying to, like, chat to your friends and say that you're okay, and you're really not. You're panicking inside. I've gone 2 years through hell waiting on this day to give Brian justice. Surely it's obvious that he's guilty.
In the High Court of Justiciary, Court number 5, continued trial. His Majesty's Advocate against David Campbell. Please note this is now a verdict. Verdict, Court number 5.
The moment between convening in court and the eventual announcing of the verdict, I hate that moment more than any other point in my professional life. It is such a pivotal moment for all of the people affected by it, whose lives are turned on end in just that, however long it takes to say guilty or not guilty.
If this is not guilty, do we just get up and walk out?
We're not that family.
We just want justice for Brian.
Court.
I couldn't go in for the verdict because I didn't know how I would react. That verdict's going to change my life. It's not going to make it better, but it could make it a hell of a lot worse.
When you're waiting, you're thinking about the stakes and you're thinking about the responsibility that you bear. There's no question that you feel the weight of it.
It's horrible. I think it's just the intensity of how important these moments are in the lives of other people. We sit in silence, and the jury come in, and the clerk says,
Members of the jury, will the spokesperson please stand? Sir, first of all, can I ask you, have you agreed upon a verdict?
Yes.
What is your verdict in respect of the accused, David Campbell?
Guilty.
Is your verdict unanimous or by a majority?
Majority.
Have a seat, please, sir.
Advocate Deputy.
My Lord, I move for sentence. There are 2 victim impact statements which I would offer to the court. One from Pamela Curran and one from the brother of the deceased Brian Lowe.
Thank you. Ms. Curran, is she present in court?
She is not present at the moment, my lord.
Members of the jury, I want to take just a few minutes. I'll be back on the bench probably in about 10 or 15 minutes, and the case will be recalled, and I'll pass sentence at that point.
Court.
Guilty.
Oh.
Guilty of murder.
Oh, thank God. Oh, yes, that's so good.
And he's going to get sentenced today.
Is he?
It was nice when, like, the police give their respects and say that they're so sorry for the loss, and they're glad it went the way it did and that. And I did believe them. I mean, they worked really hard for that case. You don't feel happy because you think it's lives ruined. It's not just my life. He's ruined his own family's life. You're glad because you get justice for Brian and justice for the family.
David Campbell, you've been found guilty of the murder of Brian Lowe. It may be that given serious errors in the early stages of police inquiries, you thought initially that you had literally got away with murder. If so, you were wrong. When you murdered him, Brian Lowe was 65 years old. There are two moving victim impact statements. Pamela Curran describes the significant impact on her life of the loss of her partner. She feels sad every day and misses Brian. Her closest friend told her, "The spark has gone out of your eyes. You just appear sad. It's heartbreaking." Douglas Lowe describes the profound and lasting impact on him and his family of their traumatic loss through murder. He says his heart is broken with an overwhelming sense of loss and grief that words cannot express. Brian was a best friend, a confidant, and almost like a son to him due to their 10-year age gap. He says that his kindness, old-fashioned honesty and sense of humour were refreshing, and those who loved him now live in sorrow, trying to come to terms with the cruel reality of his absence. David Campbell, stand up. The sentence for murder is prescribed by law and is a life sentence. I require, however, to specify a punishment part, which is the period you must serve before you can be considered for parole. I have decided that the appropriate punishment part is 19 years. 19 years represents the minimum time you will have to serve before you can even be considered for parole. That is all.
I was glad that Brian had got closure on it, that the people knew that it was Dave Campbell and it had been proven it was Dave. But I wasn't pleased about the upset it had all caused. I mean, that one act of violence has changed so many people's lives, and for what? An argument over something on an estate that happened years ago. My life's not going to be the same again. I'm not getting to see Brian, ever again. And how is that right? But you can't feel sorry for yourself. You just have to pick yourself up and keep going. Because that's what he would have wanted, so you just have to. It's hard. It's really hard.